What's going on, pistachios? My name is Eric Piccioni, documenting our journey to financial freedom. This is a financial freedom update for the month of January 2024. At the end of every month, I give an update on what we've learned, experiences that we've come across, what we're going to do moving forward, and like our general plan of attack. So this is for the month of January. Feel free to stick around. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm documenting my journey to financial freedom through our personal experiences and what we found to be the best plan for us and our family. So first thing, I did sell the vending machine business in its entirety earlier this month in January. I sold it for I had 5 total machines. At one point at the peak, I had 10 total machines, but slowly sold those off over time. But yeah, it was a good business. I'm definitely grateful that Vending provided what it did at the time that I needed it. It was a really good cash flow business, and especially with the good locations, it was very, very helpful. Ended up making 50%, 60% margins month over month. So $2,000, $3,000 here and there, not too bad. So end up selling that off, and it kind of goes into another point that I will touch on later in this video, which is about us moving to Russia. So a lot of the reasons that we sold was so that we could go abroad and not have to worry about maintaining or operating a business in the States, at least from something that's a little bit more logistically demanding that you would find with real estate or other ventures, which is what we're going to be more heavily involved into, which I will cover on more later. So sold the vending business, definitely bittersweet, very grateful for that. The next thing is my wife got approved, and we are a week away now from her getting her citizenship. So she will officially be an American citizen, which is awesome because that really removes a lot of the barriers. We won't need many, if any, visas to go to most of the countries that we want to visit over the years. We want to try to go to Europe every now and then, go to like France, Italy, Spain, and some of those countries you don't really need one or the other. But now that she's also going to be a citizen, that opens up the borders or the barriers a ton, so that we can go to a lot of countries that we wouldn't have been able to go to without getting a visa prior to it. It would have been a little bit more of a lengthy process. So it's a lot more cost effective now, and also just very nice to be able to go in and out of the country. She could vote and do everything that she would do in the States. So really cool, excited on that. As far as general top level stuff, just an update on the financial side of things. So definitely a left field topic, but this is more for myself and my future. Hopefully it brings value. But I ended up taking a lot of our funds out of a high yield savings account and putting it towards treasuries or T-bills, specifically 3-month or a year ladder. So you buy at 3, 6, 9, 12 month intervals, and you're guaranteeing a rate in which you buy it at. So if you get a 3-month T-bill at 5.3%, by the time it matures at 3 months, you don't get 5.3%, just to be clear. You do get the prorated amount. So if it went for the entire year, you would get 5.3% APY, but you would get whatever that is, like 0.045 or whatever, 5.3% divided by a 12-month span. Multiply that by 3. If I'm not mistaken, my math might be off a little bit, but that's generally how it works. I prefer treasuries over high yield savings because I live in Ohio, so I get charged state income tax on the interest that I make from a high yield savings account. So it's nothing crazy. It's maybe like 2 or 3%. But what's the point of having a high yield savings account if you lose more than half of your value by the time the interest kicks in? Because you got to pay that back to the government. So it just makes no sense. So with treasuries, you do still pay federal income tax, which you do at both options. both high yield or treasuries, but you do not pay any state income tax, which is super helpful, especially, yeah, again, if you live in states where there is state income tax, especially California and New York and other states like that. So that's something that I recently knew about, and it was actually a lot easier than I thought. And there's definitely easier ways to do it. You can go on treasurydirect.com or Fidelity, that get a brokerage account through them. I personally use Schwab because that's where all of my main, my preferred bank accounts are set up through. That's where I do most of my checking, and it was a really straightforward process. I mean, it was a little clunky to figure out the system, but once you get on the site and you make a transaction, it's pretty straightforward. And now I've got it set up so that for the 3-month time, that is a 3-month treasury is like 5.3%. Then the 6-month is right around 5.2. The 9-month is right around 5.1, I believe. And then the 12-month is like 4.9. So it goes down because you never know what interest rates are going to look like in the future. I don't fully understand it, and I don't fully know it like in the back of my hand. It's not my expertise of what I would want to learn. I just know that it's a better opportunity than putting your money in a savings account or a high yield savings account, for me at least. It's still just as liquid. If I need cash, I can sell it, and the end of the day or maybe the next business day, I have the funds ready to go. No different than a high yield savings. So for me, it's almost the exact same amount of liquidity. It might be a little bit tougher because, not tougher, but if you need $1,422, you would need to sell 2 shares of 2,000 a piece. So you get $2,000, and then you can just keep that whatever difference, 500 and some change, left in the account. So whenever you get up to 1,000 or more, again, you can buy another share of treasuries. So it's a little bit clunkier than just selling the face value or the principal value through a high yield savings. But I mean, maybe that's just with Schwab. I don't know, but I mean, it's nothing crazy. If I'm not maximizing the absolute most amount of value on every dollar I put in, it's okay. I'm going to survive. But it is something that I like because I now have another way to access funds, and I'm not tied to an account. Like it's also, to me, easier to move funds around, and I get a higher percentage by 4% or 5% versus a high yield savings. So hopefully I got that point across. It's also nice for us because Goldman Sachs is who our high yield savings accounts are with. We still do have some funds with them, but we're not able to access that money abroad as easily. So for us, it makes more sense to set up something with like Schwab where we can access it abroad in most countries. And I understand there's a security aspect that you can use or have with Goldman Sachs, which is great, that you can't use your account or you can't withdraw funds from the Sachs portal, which is fine. But it happened a couple times where I was like, damn, it would be really helpful to be able to withdraw funds from an account. And we were in Ecuador in one case, and we were unable to make any transactions. So we had to call in, and I feel like it would just be easy to do it without having to make any calls. And I just like to do it all myself. So we set up a Schwab account or Schwab brokerage account, buying treasuries that way, and we can access those funds whenever and wherever, which is awesome, as long as you have a connection or Wi-Fi. But yeah, so that brings me to my point. The really nice thing that we've really found ourselves in with Russia is we're all systems go. It's more just me at this point. It's just my job is more than flexible. Like, I can take whatever hours I want as long as I'm making revenue and earning money and making the company money, like all is well. It's just a matter of my work schedule changing. Right now I'm in 9 to 5, just like anyone, but when I get there, I'll be 2 to 10 in Russia once we move. But my hours reflective to American time will be like 6 to 2 o'clock, I believe, something like that, or 6 to 4, I believe. So it's 8 hours. That math was way off. No, it's like 6 to 2 o'clock. Yeah, so 6 in the morning American time to 2 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm on Eastern time. So it's 8 hours ahead from 6 o'clock. Yeah, so right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Russia to 8 o'clock. Sorry, to 10 o'clock in the afternoon in Russia will be 6 o'clock in Eastern time to 2 o'clock Eastern. So anyway, that's a bit of a mental hurdle that I'm trying to get through. But honestly, for the benefits that we'll get being there, I'm totally fine. Like, we're gonna have a ton of support, ton of family members that are gonna be able to help out with the kid, with our daughter, and just like have more hands on deck, which is really helpful. Plus, it's wildly more cost effective to live there. We're looking or considering renting out an apartment for $500 a month, and that's our budget. I mean, holy shit, our mortgage here is $3,000. So, I mean, we rent out the basement, so it's, $1,500 or so clean that we need to pay. But I mean, shit, to be able to pay for rent and all of your living expenses and be under $1,500 a month is amazing. So I mean, it's a no-brainer for us. We're going to potentially buy property in Russia in the future. No idea when that's going to happen, but that's a future plan. And for the time being, though, we're likely going to live with my wife's parents for the first month or two to just see how things go. We're going to test the waters and go for a 2-month trip now, and that's going to be maybe in March or April. Not totally sure, but that's around the corner. And during that time when we're there, ideally within the first week or two, we'll look around for apartments and try to find some that we like and can potentially move in while we're there on that 2-month trip. And if we really like our time in Russia and like we're actually living there ourselves, then we could essentially start moving in and start putting our stuff there, and then just start that process. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, I'm very confident that we'll have a great time. I mean, it's definitely a culture shock, just as any new experience will be. But again, like, the benefits that I'm aware of are going to far outweigh the cons. Biggest adjustment for sure is just like the weather and the time difference and like my work schedule. But again, honestly, the what it would do for us, even in 2 or 3 years time, to be able to earn and keep well beyond 80 or 90% of our income is incredible. So that's huge. Another really cool thing that's coming up is my wife's friend from childhood is having a wedding in Turkey in September. So that'll be amazing. So not really an important detail, but it's cool because I recently got the Venture X, the Capital One Venture X card, and that thing is a badass card. It is by far the best card I've ever had. There's a 75,000 bonus mile reward when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months, and there's $300 travel credit every single year, plus after the first year you get $100 in travel credit as like an anniversary bonus. So you basically get $400 in value every year no matter what, and the annual fee for the card is $395. So you're getting to me, a free card. If you book one flight a year, I mean, you're essentially getting a free card. Yeah, I mean, not officially, but I mean, to me, it's insane, because then you also get all the lounges, like the Premier Lounge or Priority Lounge or whatever they're called. So there's a ton of benefits. I would say look it up. I will include a link at the bottom of this video, so you can get that if you want. I mean, it's definitely been a process to get. It took me a while. It took me like 6 months to get this card, because I had tried to apply for a couple months and I kept getting denied. My credit is fine, but I applied recently and I got it. And so this is by far the best card. So we were looking at flights just to play around with the portal. We used to use we still do use Chase, and flights are whatever, call it like to Turkey, they're maybe like $2,000 or the hotels are like $2,000 or $3,000 all in, and then the Capital One portal, it's like $750 for 5 nights at a 5-star hotel. There's like, the portal that Capital One uses seems to be more robust. It seems like there's more options and it's just more intuitive, which is insane. And for us also, the travel partners that they work with are really helpful, because we use Turkish Airlines a ton. So being able to use them as a travel partner is extremely helpful. So we can save an ungodly amount of money. If I'm not mistaken, one of the videos I saw on a guy talking about travel partners, you can transfer like $1 and you get $5 of value through Turkish. It might have just been a special deal that they were running, but I've heard that that's often the way to really travel and maximize your points is by transferring your points over to that company, whether that's Turkish or Delta or United. You transfer over to their reward system and then you book your flight that way. I've heard that that's like the best way to do it. We've never really done it too much because we usually have enough points to buy a flight, but moving forward, that will be something that we'll consider. But yeah, that is the January 2024 update. I appreciate the patience if you stuck with me, my pistachio community. If you haven't already though, I would check out financialfreedomandme.com. That's my official blog. That's where I post all of this in like a text format. So I would check that out as well. If you haven't, just support me on all platforms. That would be incredible. I really do appreciate you watching. And if you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, hit some buttons. Definitely helps me out. But I appreciate the time and the ability to stick with me while I ramble through everything. But yeah, this is a good month. I'm very thankful and very blessed to be in this position. And of course, like all that we're doing right now is for the betterment of our family. You know, I've gotten some comments on our decision to move. And I think at the end of the day, everyone that has a family would understand where I'm coming from. You do what's best for your family so that you can protect them in all assets, in all facets of life. So that's what's important to me. But at the end of the day, you know, we're young. We need to adventure. Even if I was older, I would still, I've heavily considered moving to South America many times in my life. So I think life's too short to not want to adventure a little. So I appreciate the time. God bless and stay tuned.